I need to be straight to the point. I respect your time. I know how to get you more of the kind of patients that you want. The facts are, no matter where a potential patient finds you, whether it is from a referral, from a friend or colleague, family member, some advertising source that you use, or any online what you do search results, the next step is the same. The prospective patient Googles you. Yep, even if her best friend told her about you, she Googles you. It is a crazy world that we live in these days, but admittedly, I do the same thing. And why not? On Monday morning, you show up to the office and the conversation between you and a colleague or staff member makes its way around to, "What did you do this weekend?" The person tells you that they went out to dinner to that new place over on Route yada yada. Of course you ask, "Well, how was it?" They proceed to tell you that it was horrible. The food was bad, the service was worse, and the prices were high. Because she, we're going to use she, but it could be anyone, was so unhappy, she requested a manager. And the manager took 10 minutes to show up and then just made excuses and never offered you any resolution. The person vows to never return. Now I ask, how do you now feel about that restaurant, even though you have never tried it yourself, and more specifically, would you go eat there? Me either. This is the power of a bad experience, or more accurately, a bad review. You would not go there and even give them a chance. Later that week, a different group of friends are having a conversation in your presence and mention that this upcoming weekend, some friends were coming in from out of town and they were thinking of taking them out to the restaurant your colleague was speaking of earlier in the week. Do you mention the comments of your colleague to your friends? Many people would, and perhaps affect the plans for these friends. Maybe they would select a different restaurant to take their out-of-town guests to. This sort of thing happens every day. It is actually happening in your practice. I know that you think all of your patients are happy. To learn how people chatter about the mildest innocent thing and make it into a mountain and then share it affecting others, all anyone has to do is read the reviews of anything. Your practice, your competitor's practice, your favorite restaurant, a movie that you totally enjoyed, a new iPhone, a new car, you get the point. Now, is it possible that these opinions could be different than others in the same restaurant on the same night? Of course. Is it possible that everyone in the restaurant that night your colleague went there had a bad experience, or maybe it was just her table? Maybe it was even that her server left the food sitting in the warming area so long because he or she was in the weeds, and the food kept cooking and this is why it tasted bad. Maybe everyone else thought the restaurant was excellent and it's now their new favorite. The point here is about how the decisions are made today about who to do business with. Nearly every purchase or action is affected by what we call social proof, other people's endorsements. This used to be called word-of-mouth advertising, but today it is called customer reviews or social proof. Social proof is the concept responsible for the overwhelming success of review-driven websites like Angie's List and Amazon. This is real life today and cannot be ignored. This is why I say that to be on the front page of Google is not what you want or need, until you have social currency. What is social currency? I'm glad you asked. It is what is going to make your business flourish. Looking back at your business a year from now will be a totally different look than looking back at the last year or two or even more. Social currency is the word used to describe the compilation of reviews about you, your credentials, and the image of you as an expert in your marketplace, your accomplishments, and even your community contributions in any form. You having social currency is your ticket to a blue ocean of uncontested market space, where the competition for your desired preferred services become irrelevant. Marketing about what you do is marketing in the red ocean of bloody competition, where everyone is competing with shark-like behavior. This is the space that lives on the front page of Google for what you do. You do want to be found for what you do, but not until you have created your social currency, which is about who you are. Who you are lives in the blue ocean and is where the selection process of who to choose for the patient's procedure is made. This is where the business is. This is where the better patients make their decision. This is the influencer that separates you from all competition and creates this uncontested space. This is where your referrals go to determine if they want to do business with you. This is where the results come from when someone Googles you and your practice. This is where your marketing should be done. This is where the choice is made. This is also where your patients tell their stories about how awesome you and your team are. This is where your special identity, that allows for you to claim your expert status lives. This is where the patients seeking the better, more desirable procedures shop for the expert. Creating your social currency is what I have mastered in order to be able to guarantee you results. I know how to create the blue ocean of uncontested space for your practice. I am so certain that I give you a written guarantee of a 700% ROI, or return on investment. No one else does this, and it is absolutely risk-free for you. So here's what I do. I get started the same way you might start with a patient, with a consultation and some tests. You wouldn't think of performing surgery without a preoperative assessment, and we wouldn't think of moving forward without knowing where you stand. I start with an online audit. I can't determine where to go without first knowing where you are. Here's what an audit consists of and why it's important for your practice. I start by collecting basic information about your practice. Nothing confidential, just information that's already public. Details like your services, your offices, your specialties, your city, and your competitors. Then, using proprietary software, my staff finds everything that's available on the web about your practice and your competitors' practices. We find every mention on search engines, review sites, directories, and social media. Next, we analyze our findings, check for discrepancies and omissions, and produce an easy-to-read report that will tell you your percentage of voice. We determine what is said about plastic surgeons in your city, how much of it is about you, and whether what is being said is positive or negative. Visibility. Where are you being seen and where are you invisible? Consistency. Do all your listings match? If not, the effectiveness of your advertising is severely impaired. Sentiment analysis. We compile all mentions of you and your practice across multiple social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., and determine if what is being said about you is positive, negative, or neutral. Comparison. We research all of the above information about your competitors and run a comparative analysis of you versus them on all the above listed points. We create a rank presence score, which compares where you are to where you could be if all these bases were covered. To perform all of this research manually would take weeks and would be very expensive. But because I use proprietary software to assist in the research and I have the experience to analyze your research, I could perform an audit for the very modest cost of just $249. Want to know how you stack up against the other doctors in your market? Just click here to get started. Your completed audit will tell you things about your practice that you may never have been aware of, such as which patients are extremely pleased with your services. Those patients make excellent candidates for video reviews. Which patients are bad-mouthing you? Such patients are a festering infection for your practice. Which, if any, of your practice's policies are causing your patients grief and costing you money? What do the other plastic surgeons in your market do better than you? What do you do better than them? In your market, who's getting the lion's share of the kind of procedures that you wish you had? Medical Test provides you with the information you need to help your patients. My audit gives you the information you need to inoculate your practice against spurious claims and getting it as easy as clicking the link. Once I have the completed audit document, we can review it and identify issues that you want to address. Then I can make specific recommendations and you can decide on a course of action. After that, it's all automatic and will require none of your time. All you will see is positive results. Let me close with a question. Doesn't it make sense to spend your marketing dollars solidifying your personal reputation? Don't let a spiteful patient spoil all your hard work. Be proactive and have a look at my audit. Click the link. You'll be glad you did.